Hey everybody. So I'm back and this is module number 2 and hopefully you've just moved right over here to module 2 as soon as we finished there with the first one. So we're doing the 3 diet fails. The number 1 we were talking about was cereal grains, and we're going to go into number 2 right now about the second diet fail that most people do not realize that creates severe inflammatory condition in the body, which can turn so easily to disease, is industrial seed oils. That just sounds like such a descriptive long word. Really, it's trans fats, hydrogenated oils, these types of things that really have not been a part of the hunter-gatherer diet or ancestral people ever until this last 100 years. It's been quite the experiment. So anyway, industrial seed oils are corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. All of these oils, by the way, of anything you buy, even in health food stores, are going to be made from these industrial seed oils. I mean, they may say they're organic, but what are they, right? Contrary to what we've been told, industrial seed oils are not heart healthy or otherwise beneficial for our bodies and brains. In fact, plenty of research indicates that they're making us sick. Unlike traditional fats such as olive oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, and lard, industrial seed oils are a very recent addition to the human diet, really. Only in the early 1900s were they brought in. And here's a good picture of them. I think this is not, it doesn't show canola, but canola is another one similar to all of these, and we see them on the grocery shelves everywhere. So here's a really good story. This came from Chris Kresser, and this is how vegetable oils really first started. So in the 1870s in Cincinnati, 2 soap makers that you guys have heard of, Procter and Gamble, decided to enter into business. While soap had historically been made from rendered pork fat, they were an innovative pair of guys who decided to create a type of soap using vegetable oils. Around the same time, oil was discovered in Pennsylvania. It displaced cottonseed oil, which had long been used for lighting. They used it as a fuel source. So cottonseed oil was consigned to the status of toxic waste until these 2 guys, Procter and Gamble, realized that all that unwanted cottonseed oil could be used to produce soap. But there was another plus that appealed to them. The oil could be chemically altered via a process called hydrogenation, and they turned it into a solid cooking fat that looked outwardly like lard. And that's how oil, formerly classified as toxic waste, became an integral part of the American diet when Crisco was first introduced in the early 1900s. Soon other vegetable oils followed. Soybeans were introduced in the 30s, and by the 50s, the most popular vegetable oil in the country, canola, corn, and safflower oils all followed shortly after that. I should say soybean was the most popular. The low cost of these cooking oils combined with strategic marketing on the part of the oil manufacturers made them widely popular in American kitchens, even though their use was unprecedented. We never ancestrally had it. Now, just imagine we now have stores like Stater Brothers, Albertsons. We have big, huge supermarkets where people are going to buy prepared food. Now, that was also never really a part of the situation. I mean, people would have a garden and they would have their own animals and they would get fat the way that they got them. So this was a whole new thing. How are these industrial seed oils made? Well, it produces chemical residues, trans fats, and oxidized byproducts. So how are they made? The general process used to create them is anything but natural. The oils extracted from soybeans, corn, cottonseed, safflower seeds, and rapeseeds, by the way, that's canola, they must be refined, bleached, and deodorized before they're suitable for human consumption. First, the seeds are gathered from them. Next, the seeds are heated to extremely high temperatures, and this causes the unsaturated fatty acids in the seeds to oxidize. Now remember, oxidized, rancid fats taste terrible. You ever had that those peanuts from the Christmas before and you try to eat that? That's the fat that's oxidized and rancid. So when they heat these ones, they get them rancid and they oxidize them. So then they create byproducts that are harmful to human and animal health in them. But now they got to fix that. So they process it with a petroleum-based solvent such as hexane to maximize the amount of oil they can get out and then they have to use chemicals to deodorize those oils, which have an off-putting smell at first, and they're ugly gray-colored liquid. So this deodorization process produces a trans fat, which are well known to be harmful to human health. Finally, more chemicals are added to improve the color of the oils. Now, here's a good illustration of how we manufacture margarine and shortening, which we now know is like one molecule off from plastic. I mean, this shouldn't even be in the human body. You'll notice that these types of margarines and things, they don't even have to be in a cooler because they can stay in the middle of the aisle. So basically you have soybeans, corn, cottonseed, or canola seeds, which are rape seeds. You look at that second one, they extract them by high temperature and pressure. Thirdly, the remaining fraction of oil is removed with hexane and other solvents to get it out. Now these oils are rancid, steam cleaned to remove all vitamins and antioxidants, but all the pesticides and solvents remain. So then they mix it with a nickel catalyst. Now think of that, nickel. That's a heavy metal. Now the oils with catalyst subjected to hydrogen gas in a high pressure, high temperature reactor, and then a soap-like emulsifier is mixed in. This is oil steam cleaned to remove the horrible odor, so they deodorize it. Then the gray color is removed from bleaching, and then artificial flavors, synthetic vitamins, and natural colors are added. Then the mixture is packaged into blocks or tubs, and now it's promoted as a health food. Here's another illustration. Manufacturers begin with the cheapest seeds, soy or canola. They extract the oil at extremely high temperatures and pressures. The last fraction is removed with a harmful solvent called hexane. The oils then turn brown and smelly, and so they have to undergo a steaming process for cleaning. This destroys important minerals, leaving only harmful solvents and pesticides behind. And finally, additional refining involves heating and the addition of chemicals, drying, degumming, deodorization, and adding harmful antioxidants. In all, the liquid is heated 5 times before being bottled. So here's another one you can look at your own leisure. When you want to look back at this, it'll explain how they make the vegetable oil. Now, here's a good illustration of good fat and bad fat. I just told you the process of making this bad fat, and you can see them on the right, the canola oil, soybeans, sunflower, corn oil, all those on the right. If you look at the good fat on the left and you notice something about them all, they all come from animals, and they're all pretty much natural. Butter, tallow, ghee. Ghee is just clarified butter. They removed the lactose from it. The healthy palm oil is what we're talking about here. Coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. If I held up a bottle of avocado oil, you would say, well, that's from avocados, right? I mean, that's what it comes from. The funny thing about vegetable oils is I can hold up to the class a vegetable oil and ask everybody what it came from, and everybody stares at me. And they kind of go, well, vegetables, it says vegetable oil. Well, I just told you guys how they make vegetable oil. Is there vegetables in it? No. You might call soybeans a vegetable that they're made from, and seeds, but those are seeds. Those are not vegetables. Technically, they're grains and seeds. So when you look over here at this good fat, most of that is rendered from animals, and it's very natural. Now, our bodies take that natural very simply right into our cells. So we have cellular structure. All of our cells have permeable cell walls. So one of the things I'm looking at here on the left, if you happen to be vegan or vegetarian, you might have a problem, because if you tend to go with a lot of the health food, vegan and vegetarian foods, you're going to have a lot of the bad fats on the right that are going to be in those products. So you're going to have a lot of soybean oils, and you're going to even if you look at salad dressing that is organic, you're still looking at soybean oil and many of these bad oils. So the ones on the right are made from factories, and the ones on the left really are coming from animals or avocado, coconut, and olive oil. These are foods that we're not putting them through a chemical process, and our body, it just intuitively knows what's real and what's coming from a factory, and the body can't break down these factory oils. So these oils really have 6 problems. First of all, it was never a part of our ancestral dietary evolution. Our bodies are not made to take in these oils. It would be like anybody out there getting a very expensive Maserati car and putting the wrong oil in there. You cannot put the wrong oil or gas in a vehicle, and we are putting these oils into our bodies, and our bodies don't know what to do with them. Secondly, eating industrial and seed oils raises our omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratios with significant consequences for our health. Industrial seed oils are unstable and oxidize easily, and they contain harmful additives. They're derived from genetically modified crops, and when they're repeatedly heated, even more toxic byproducts are created. And just imagine the average restaurant oils. So they're reheated and reheated and reheated, and this is why it's so incredibly damaging for the body. Again, we want to say not in the ancestral diet and traditional diets of our ancestors. Up until the 1900s, humans did not consume these oils. From 1970 to 2000, the average consumption of soybean oil went from a mere 4 pounds per person per year to 26 pounds per person per year. They're in all processed foods, they're in all restaurant foods. These oils are derived from genetically modified crops as well. Today, linoleic acid, the primary fat acid in industrial seed oils, accounts for 8% of our total calorie intake, and it would have in ancestral diet times 1 to 3%. So omega-6 is the fat found in the industrial seed oils like corn oil and these vegetable oils used in so much of our food, all processed foods, restaurant foods, and condiments. We get way too much omega-6 and it raises blood pressure, it leads to blood clots, and can cause heart attacks and stroke and cause the body to retain water. It creates inflammation. What have we been talking about, you guys, from the beginning of these PowerPoints? Inflammation. Omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids are delicately maintained in the body to promote optimal health. In ancestral diets, it used to be 1-to-1. Omega-6 to omega-3 was 1-to-1. Nowadays, through processed foods and all of these trans and bad fats, we're having ranges of 10-to-1 or 20-to-1, which is totally unnatural. A high intake of omega-6 fatty acids combined with low omega-3 intake leads to an imbalance in pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory mediators. Remember how we started this PowerPoint discussing inflammation as the primary driver of disease? This imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids produces a chronic state of inflammation and disease, and we can now say cancer. They're unstable oils. These the polyunsaturated fatty acids in these industrial seed oils are highly unstable and oxidize very easily upon exposure to heat, light, and chemical inputs. When industrial seed oils are exposed to these factors, two harmful substances, trans fats and lipid peroxides, are created. Trans fats are well known for their role in the development of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. In fact, for every 2% increase in calories from trans fats, your risk of heart disease is nearly doubled. Lipid peroxides, on the other hand, free radicals, toxic byproducts that damage your DNA, proteins, and membrane lipids. What are membrane lipids? Even the coatings of our cell, every one of our cells, has to be permeable for hormones and other things to be able to go inside and in and out of our cells. They should be fluid, but these are damaged from these oils. The accumulation of lipid peroxides in the body promotes aging and the development of chronic diseases. And that quote was from Chris Kresser. So here we have so many people worried how they're going to look with aging, how they're going to look in the future. They're having Botox. And look at this number one thing. What are the fats and what are the oils that you are eating every day? Because your face, your body is cellular in structure. You need to have permeable cell walls that are allowing your cellular waste to go out and allowing the hormones and the good things to come into the cell and nutrients. And yet we are, via these oils, damaging our bodies at a DNA and cellular structure level. This is huge. Now, again, if you happen to be vegan or vegetarian and you are not eating butter, you are not eating, having very many omega-3 fats, you're not eating meat, you're not having fish, the predominance, you must be very careful, because the predominance of your intake of oil could very well lead to being mostly these types of unstable oils. And especially if you're buying gluten-free, anybody, even non-vegetarian people, if you're buying gluten-free products and packaged products, most of them have these types of oils, high omega-6, hardly any omega-3 fats in them. You're eating a processed food, even though it's gluten-free, even though you're looking for certain words on it. It's organic and gluten-free. It has been prepared for you. It is in a box. So this is really important information that you read these labels, and this is all the more importance of cooking your food at home and the oils and the fats that your body can handle. Again, think of that Maserati Think of that expensive car with the wrong oil. Think if you don't put synthetic oil in your car and it's supposed to have that. And think of your lawnmower when it runs out of oil. Think about what happens and the whole engine seizes up. We're having people with bodies seized up, autoimmune disorders, so many problems from this really unseen and untalked about thing, which are these these refined seed oils in our diet. So again, here you guys, we're coming on to 15 minutes. I'm going to go now into module 3. So please catch me on the next module and we're going to continue from there. Okay, you guys, see you in a minute.